Since we've been working from home, many of you feel that they have more pain, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, because they don't move enough anymore. There's no more meetings when you stand, etc. Therefore, an alternative is to have a standing workstation from your home. And you have two different scenarios. Either you buy a sit-stand desk, or you try to make a sit-stand desk or standing desk with what you have, in this case, the kitchen counter. In this video, I'd like to review with you the pros and cons of a sit-stand desk, and I'd like to advise you on the posture and ergonomics so that the great idea doesn't become another source of damage on your body. The pros of a standing desk are, first, they will allow you to stand up. And standing up will participate in less compression in your lower back. When you sit for more than 30 minutes in a row, your lower back tends to get compressed, and you should stand up to, say, stop the pattern. Thing is, most of us, when we think we stand up, we think, okay, so we have to stop working. This is actually not the case. If you have a standing desk, you can keep working, but actually you could be on a Zoom standing as well. So standing does not mean that you need to take a break for the low back. If you keep working on your computer, it could be that your neck needs a break, which is not resolved by standing, but this is another topic. So first good thing about a standing desk, less compression in your low back. The next good thing about a standing desk is more energy expenditure, which helps, say, reduce the risk of overweight, obesity, and all the associated diseases. It's not the solution, it's part of a solution. Standing desks have also been described to reduce lower back pain and increase productivity. However, there are two, say, soft myths on standing desks, which are, one, a standing desk does not change anything to what happens in your neck. Yeah, because whether you sit or whether you stand, you're always on your keyboard with your mouse with the screen. So it doesn't change much in your neck. The other thing that a standing desk does not change is swelling legs. What will have an impact on swelling legs is the fact that you walk. So a walking meeting is much more useful for you and for your legs than the fact that you would stand when working. There are also some risks to a standing desk. These risks are related to duration, ergonomics, or posture. Duration, well, what I mean with that is actually standing too much is as risky as sitting too much. I mean, there are different health consequences, but one is not better than the other. If you think, for example, of security guards or salespeople, etc., a number of professions have lower back pain, legs pain, knee pain, hip pain because they stand for too long. So you should not stand for too long either. The balance that you try to strike is a 50-50 balance over the day, i.e. you try to sit 50% of the time, stand 50% of the time. And the idea, more or less, to have a simple framework in your mind is that you should not sit for more than 30 minutes in a row, hence you should not stand for more than 30 minutes in a row either. What happens if you stand for too long is that you will shift your weight to one leg, and this knee hyperextension, hip hyperextension will create a twisted back, i.e. the shape of a scoliosis, which overloads the back tissues, both muscles and vertebrae. The best prevention is the technological prevention. It's much more effective to adapt the hardware than to try and fix your behavior, because habits are difficult to change. So let's first discuss technical solutions, and then we switch to behavioral solutions. I'm an entrepreneur, therefore I'm always very careful with the expenses that I made, and I don't have a sit-stand desk at home. I thought, okay, let's try and use the kitchen counter. It is high. But you see that actually, if I want my wrist to be straight, which avoids excessive pressure in the carpal tunnel and tension in the wrist extensors, I would like the keyboard of the laptop to be at the height of my elbows. And the kitchen counter is too low. So this is the first hazard that you can have in DIY solutions, is that your workstation is either too low, which makes you work like that, or too high, which puts a lot of pressure here under the carpal tunnel and possibly makes you raise the shoulders. So what you need is something which is at the height of your elbows. Here I've used 4 boxes to recreate something ergonomic. My keyboard and my mouse are at the height of my elbow, and the screen of the laptop is slightly under the level of my eyes, but not too low being when my neck flexes more than 20 degrees. So you see, this is the cheap solution, which is decently ergonomic, but which is ugly. And therefore, some more elegant solutions exist. When you choose an existing solution, the 2 parameters that you should be aware is 1, is it height adjustable or not? And 2, what is the relationship between the keyboard and the screen? Some solutions will force you to have the laptop and the keyboard at the same height. This is not the goal, because otherwise either your shoulders will be raised or your neck will be too flexed. Some other solutions don't offer you the possibility to have a lot of horizontal space, a lot of depth between the keyboard and the screen. And the result is either that you work at a comfortable visual distance, but your arms are stretched forward, or you work with your elbows alongside your body, but then you're glued to your screen, which is extremely uncomfortable from a visual perspective. Therefore, what you want is something which is height adjustable and something which allows you to separate really both vertically and horizontally the screen from the keyboard, whether you use the laptop as a screen or whether you use an external monitor. And of course, the luxury solution is to buy a full setup with the sit stand adjustable electric desk and an external monitor. When you buy something like this, be careful. There are different models, and one of the key parameters is how low can the electric desk go. The sitting elbow height, i.e. the height of the keyboard when you sit, for 90% of the Western population is between 68 and 76 centimeters. And I know some manufacturers who dare to sell desks that don't go lower than 72, meaning that for 50% of us, the electric desk is too high when it's at the lowest position. It might be okay for you as a person if you're tall, but if you're not tall, well, that will be a waste of money. Where an electric sit-stand desk may be useful is if you have a tall guy like Romain. You see, my nice DIY thing, it doesn't work for Romain. He still needs another 15 centimeters. So then it becomes super high. So for Romain, it's better if you can afford a proper sit-stand desk, definitely. Last point, as promised, your habits. When you stand after 5 to 10 minutes, most of us will tend to switch to one leg. Yeah? And that, as explained previously, will twist your back. The technique to avoid that is you bring one foot like 2 inches in front of its normal position, and you'll swing your whole body back and forth. So basically, you're always standing on 1.5 feet. When my body is forward, the rear heel is up the ground, and when my body is backwards, the front toes are off the ground. And shifting like this, I create a back and forth movement that prevents me from tilting to the side. The result of using this technique with 1 foot in front or the other foot in front is that you can multiply by 10 your standing endurance. Instead of wanting to go to the side like this, after 5 minutes, you will be able to hold it for around 15 minutes. So this is an extremely important technique to master when you want to work part-time standing, or when you visit a museum, or if you're a bouncer, or if you wait for the bus, or basically for everyday life situation. So to cut a long story short, standing is beneficial and is even necessary, provided that your ergonomics is okay and that you don't stand for 2 prolonged periods. And if you want to create a sit-stand desk, you have cheap solutions like the one I have created for you. You have intermediate price solutions, but be careful with the height and depth adjustments. Or you have expensive solutions, which are electric sit-stand desks, provided that you have a separate screen, a separate keyboard, and a separate mouse.